Hey, welcome back. We're going to be doing some openers and approaches to give you an idea of how to start an interaction. And with the emotional activation system, words don't really matter so much. So you can use any opener you like. There are lots of openers for free online that you can look up. Opener, meet women. You can find all these different types of openers. The opener doesn't matter. However, for those people who just want something to say, I'm going to give you two things you can say. It's pretty hard to mess these up. Right? The easiest one would just be, hey, my name is, right? But people are like, oh, I can't say that. I need something more elaborate because it makes me feel more prepared. So I'm going to give you two openers that are almost foolproof. The first is more advanced. So we're going to go over the advanced first, and then we'll do the beginner version. Okay, the advanced version, again, we're going to parse this based on dominant emotions. So the dominant emotion for the advanced version are desire, awe, wonder, and all of those fuel your courage and your urgency. So that's what's driving you. The desire, the wonder, the awe. Okay, so those are the dominant emotions. They have to come through. Obviously, if your dominant emotion is nervousness, this is going to be relatively harder to do. But if you want to get to the point where you can do this on a regular basis, I mean, like you're able to do this on a consistent basis because it's the most versatile opener. You can use this during the daytime, you can use it at night, you can use it on the street, in a bar, a club, shopping mall, in a swimming pool. You can use it on a plane. You can use it in the airport. Maybe the plane. You can use it to get a girlfriend, you can use it to get a lover, you can use it to get a one-night stand. It's very versatile that way. Okay, so it's very simple. It's called the dramatic direct opener. It's on the slide. Most of you guys have heard this one before, so I'm just going to say it because you guys are from Aura, so I've gone over this before for you guys from Aura. So it's excuse me during the day or hey at night. I just saw you doing X activity. Right? And the activity is whatever she's doing. So I saw you standing here, I saw you walking by, I saw you sitting, something general, generic. And I just wanted to come over to tell you. Then you pause, count to 2. So just wanted to come over to tell you. 1, 2. I think you are, and then you're going to have a huge adjective, the Y adjective, the big adjective. This is going to be something more grand, like beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, striking, ravishing, striking, something like that. Don't use cute, especially if you're in Singapore, because apparently cute means something else. What does it mean, like?
Ugly but adorable.
Oh yeah, ugly but adorable, right? Don't use cute. And pretty is too weak. Right? So use something big. A hedging word would be adorable. If you didn't get a good look at her and when you got closer, it would just feel dishonest to say beautiful. Just say adorable. Right? And up until the adjective, you're going to have a serious face, like it's businesslike. You know, like and the urgency will be like she just dropped her wallet. So like, hey, you just dropped your wallet. That urgency is there. And then you just end with, and I just wanted to come over to meet you. Right? You can follow this up with 2 AFA questions. So good, AFA, by the way, is average frustrated Asian. So if you're not Asian, yeah, I guess it's AFC. Use your name or logistics. That's a good one. So you give her your name so that it feels like you're a real human being, you're not just a pickup artist or something like that. So hey, my name's David, what's your name? And then you can ask a logistical question to find out how much time you have to talk to her at that point. Okay, so that's the run through. Our beautiful female dating coach at Aura Academy, Sharon, is going to be helping us with the demonstration. So I'll just show you how this works and what it looks like. Okay, so let's make it so that we can make you standing here, maybe towards the front, and you're waiting for the light to change on a street in the middle of the day. And so in that case, I'll be using excuse me. Okay, so she's standing there on the street. Excuse me? Do you know where City Hall is?
Yeah, you just go straight and then you turn.
Actually, yeah, I already know where it is. I just wanted to come over to talk to you because I thought you were really cute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my name's David. What's your name?
I'm Shireen.
Hi, pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, great. So let's do, that's how it's supposed to go, straightforward. Okay, let's do one let's do one where I'm more nervous, and then she's going to give me challenges so I'm more nervous.
So you want me to be a beach now?
Yeah, you can be the bitch. Okay, so now that we got the ideal out of the way, again, it's going to be, you want to maintain humor and fun, and that you're a goofball, and that's why it's for beginners, but advanced people obviously can use any of these. Okay, so where should we ask for directions to? Orchard Towers? Let's do that. Okay, so you're at the red light. Hey, do you know where Orchard Towers is? I'm not going there, but my friend said to meet there. Do you know where it is?
Do I look like I
I've
know
never been
where
there.
Orchard Tower is?
Yeah.
Really?
That's a good thing, isn't it? I thought it was like a high-end establishment. That's what he told me.
Really? It's
not?
just messing with you.
Oh, man. So what is it actually?
Well, there are tons of hookers.
Oh, so embarrassed. Oh, okay. Well, I didn't mean anything by that. Oh, that's really bad. Sorry. You look beautiful. I didn't mean that you look beautiful like a hooker beautiful. That's bad. So my name's David, by the way. I feel really bad calling you a hooker. Did I say that? My name's David. What's your name?
Fuck off.
Fuck off? Wow, is that Thai? Like, I've been to Phuket. Is that like are you Thai? Sawadee Kap? Is that Sawadee Ka or Kap?
Cut from it.
Oh, yeah, you are Thai. That's so cool. I love Thailand.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So are you headed somewhere too?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
going to
just
Orchard
waiting for a
Towers?
cab.
Oh, it's waiting for a cab.
Yeah.
Okay, since you're here, maybe I'll wait with you. Is that going to be weird? Because I'm waiting for my friend, and now I'm scared to go to Orchard Towers.
It's okay, I'm not a social retard. You're welcome to talk to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. What's your real name? I know it's not fuck off. Is
I'm
it?
Shireen Isika.
Shireen? Wow, that is an exotic name.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you, David. You're the first Shireen Isika I've met in the entire world.
Okay, pleasure is mine.
Let's share a cab. Okay. So that's a little bit more of like the goofiness. So I started off with like something pretty embarrassing. I was really embarrassed, and I just rolled with my embarrassment. Okay. So your dominant emotion, just throw it out there. Tell her, oh my God, I feel really stupid doing this, because you do, and you just go with it. Any feedback for how to handle that situation to the crowd, if they were to meet someone like that?
Just be normal.
Just be normal. That's a good way to go. Just be normal. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, it's off.
Okay. Okay, so how do you go from the opener? What do you do next? So you guys are pretty good. You've seen different openers. Now you're going to transition. There are three types of transitions. One is an observation. The second is a backstory. And the third is the no transition. Okay, the first is an observation. And you're transitioning into something else. The next thing that you're transitioning to, I'll show you, is maybe a question about herself. So the transition could be something where you observe her clothing, something interesting about her clothing. Maybe it's her earrings look really cool and they match her shoes and you think that's really cool. It could be something in the environment, right? Like maybe you're next to a whorehouse and you can point that out, like, this is so weird, I'm talking to you next to a whorehouse. Maybe it's an intuition you have about her. So it's just hey, I get this feeling about you that you are X. Am I right? The second type of transition is a backstory. I'll give you some examples. You could say you just got back from some place you traveled. Like, I just got back from Thailand. The beaches there were amazing. And then you can transition from there into a question about travel. You could also do a backstory about working out. Like, you just came from the gym, and that's why you're a little bit sweaty and you're a little bit hot. And you can go then into, where do you work out? You look like you work out. Okay, so backstory. You can also do the no transition. And this is the reason why actually more advanced guys prefer to not transition at all and just go straight into the next thing is because their emotional state transfers, right? So transitions are actually just to verbally set up the next series of words. But if you're good at transferring your emotions, you don't need a transition. It's just there for your personal comfort and security, so that you feel like you have a security blanket to fall back on. Okay, so just to recap, we did an approach. The first approach was a more advanced one. This is where you're channeling your desire and your awe and your wonder, and this is the dramatic direct opener. Approach 2 is drop the pretense. This is where it's really just the sort of thing that everybody should be polite enough to at least say, to answer. They'll say something. Maybe for me, like if somebody asks me directions and I'm in a rush, I'll just say, no, no, I can't help you. But that should be as bad as it gets. You know that they're not being mean to you personally. Anybody who goes up to them and asks for anything is going to get rebuffed in the same manner. So you drop the pretense, and that's a good one for anybody at any level. And then I went over just 3 different types of transitions: observations, backstory, and the no transition transition. Coming up is step 2, the connection, and how to build connection and how to build a relationship very quickly so that people feel like they know you you've known them for a long time. All right, so you can take a little stretch break right now. All right, welcome back. We're on step 2 now. We're looking at connection. The dominant emotion in step 2 include appreciation, wonder, curiosity, warmth, and interest, being interested in her, and passion. Okay. As I mentioned before, especially this step, mimics conversational structures and patterns when 2 people naturally connect emotionally. It doesn't matter if you didn't catch every single word I say. The point is basically the dominant emotions, in many ways, they're synonyms for each other. So you can just insert lots of different words in there. It doesn't really matter. But basically what we're getting at is, it's the ah moment, right? It's the, okay, I'm connecting with you. The, ah, yeah, I understand who you are. Okay, understand this. You've already done this step. If you are a human being above the age of 18, very, very likely you've already made connections with other people, other human beings in this universe. So you've already done this. So just tap into how that felt. That time that you talked forever with this girl, maybe on summer camp or something. That's when, in many ways, the connection step is about tearing that down, analyzing that, breaking it down, and then recreating it at will consistently. Okay. The primary technique I'm going to give you here is screening and qualifying. Many of you have heard me talk about this because this is the most viewed article on AsianRake.com, which is the Believability, the Key to Elite Game article, where I give a preview of the screening and qualifying technique. Screening and qualifying is very effective because with just this one technique, you simultaneously raise your value, you raise your investment, and you raise your believability. And by so doing, you raise your overall attraction at the same time. Right? You raise your value because only high-value people have high-value people have high standards, and they're the ones who screen. So people who don't have a lot of sex, people who don't have high standards, people who don't have options, they don't screen. They're just happy to talk to anybody who's a woman. You know? But if you have a lot of things going on in your life, you have an abundance of women in your life, you're going to be screening for them. Why? Because your time is precious. You can't give out time to everybody. You're in high demand. So it demonstrates value indirectly. It also increases investment. When you give a screen and she meets it, then she is investing time and effort into your conversation and into you. And when you qualify at the end, you say you like that about her, it builds your believability. That is, she believes that you appreciate her for more than her non-physical qualities. Okay? She believes in your words and in your actions. That when you escalate in terms of touching her more, or when you tell her you really like her, it makes sense because she's invested that, and now you get believability as well. So it raises all 3. I have to emphasize the importance of having high standards, but always be open-minded. Right? So some guys say, I'm interested only in finding girls who have traveled around the world. And then they meet a young girl who's never left her country before. And then they're like, oh, I can't talk to you. Well, that's your decision, whether it's a real or a false screen. But be open-minded to learning new things about her. Like maybe, let's say, you like rock music and she says she likes opera. You don't know shit about opera. Great, this is a great opportunity for you to learn about opera. Ask her about opera. What do you like about it? What does it make you feel when you listen to it? And then you might ask, why would I want to listen to it? What value do you get from it? Tell me more about it and learn about new things. Also, be aware that there's a difference between real and false screening. If you understand this technique, you can actually screen for qualities that you don't actually care that much about, but you're just doing it as a kind of a way of building attraction. I don't do that personally, but it's something that you could do if you could detach your emotions from it, if you're a good actor. And it's not supposed to be an interrogation or an interview, so don't just ask questions rapid fire one after the other. It should be mimicking a natural conversational structure. Okay, so let's look at screening first. How do you develop your own screens? I'll ask you 3 questions. The first question is, think of 5 non-physical traits you're looking for in your ideal woman. 5 non-physical traits you're looking for in your ideal woman. Make sure that these 5 non-physical traits are not those that every man would agree with you on, because then it would be too generic, it's not very useful. Right? So if you say kind, well, can you think of a man in the world who would like an unkind woman? Probably not. Right? So kind is not helpful. But if you write adventurous, or maybe athletic, those would be good. You can work with those, because some men might not want a woman who's too adventurous, or might not want an athletic woman or a sporty girl. After you've done that, think of 5 non-physical traits that you have. 5 non-physical traits that define you. And lastly, think of 5 topics that you know about and enjoy talking about. Okay, they could be like cars, wine, whatever those are, write those down. So let me repeat that. 5 non-physical traits you're looking for in your ideal woman, 5 non-physical traits that you have, and 5 topics you know about and enjoy talking about. And now you should have a list of 15 traits and topics. Look for any common threads among those 3 categories. If there's any trait or topic that comes up in all 3, circle those. If there are traits that come up in 2 of them, circle those as well. You're looking for common threads. Right, so maybe you want a girl who's artistic, and maybe you are artistic, and maybe you really enjoy and know about art. Great, circle those. Art would be one of your common threads. And that would be a natural topic or trait to build a screening qualifying set piece on. Okay, before we get into screening itself and how the words work, it's important to be casual about it. Like, start small and build. Be interested, but not obsessed. Okay, so interested. Let's see what you're about. Interested. Okay, that's how it starts. And as she tells you more and more about her, then you can become more and more interested, right? And it's very important to calibrate your nonverbal content to match the verbal content, to match your words. Your body language, your facial expressions, your eye contact, and your tonality should match what stage you're at in the relationship. So if it's the beginning, and you say, you seem really well traveled, am I right? And that's the first question I ask. Notice I'm not saying, hey, you seem really well traveled, am I right? I don't have a lot of interest yet because she hasn't earned it. So I'm going to give her a skeptical, screening tone. My body language is going to be mirroring hers, or maybe even slightly turned away. I'll be looking at her like, am I right? Like challenge, right? My eye contact will be squinting a bit, right? It's a skeptical. Nonverbal. Right? My tonality will be relatively businesslike. As she gains more and more of my interest by earning it through her investment in meeting my screens, then I will give her more and more. Right? Okay. Here are some stock screens. I'm just going to use the variable x so you can replace it. The more powerful, the stronger screens are just statements. Right? So you just put a statement out there, and she needs to meet it. Right? So I like X. I like ice cream. I like seaweed. And if she likes you, she's going to go, oh yeah, I like that too. Right? I like X. Being X is really important to me. You know, it's something I like about so-and-so friend. Name your friend, right? So being X is really important to me. It's something I really like about Ryan. Here's another one. All my friends are X. You seem X. Am I right? You strike me as an X person. You're X, aren't you? Right. Here's a contrast. I can tell you're really X, but are you Y as well? Are you more X or Y? You're not Y, right? So those are different stock screens. I gave you some more stock screens in the article on asianrig.com. That's a good way to get you started. Now I'll give you some specific screens. Ask open-ended questions, because the open-ended question is going to be the real screening question, right? So questions like that are yes or no, like where do you, maybe, or one-word answers like where do you like to travel, is going to be just a place. You can't really, that's not going to be enough, right? You need her to invest more. So you're going to ask her why, right? So open-ended questions, always frame them in terms of open-ended questions. Things like why, how, what's it like, what did it feel like? Remember, focus on emotions. What did it feel like? Focus on feelings, not facts. That's the mistake of most guys. They're just like, oh, I'm going to find out some facts about you. But focus on feelings instead. Build in positive presumptions. Right? So a question like, where do you like to travel, is better than, do you like to travel? Because I just assume that everybody I'm talking to is going to be interested at least in travel, if not having traveled quite a lot. So where do you like to travel? I just skip that. Right? You can even ask, so how's medical school? She'll be like, I'm not in med school, but it'll feel better for her. She'll be like, then you can say, oh, really, what is it that you study? You seem like a really smart girl. What kind of art do you do? Presumes that she does some kind of art. Now you just want to know what kind she does. What do you do to stay fit? What do you do to stay so fit? Right? Presumes that she is fit. Obviously, that's something you can observe, but it's also a positive presumption. Okay. I'm going to demonstrate how to do this after we get through the screening and qualifying. So let's talk about qualifying. Before you qualify, you want to get enough investment. Right? So a down and dirty way of figuring out whether you have enough investment is just by counting words or counting time. Have you said, has she said as many words as you've said? Has she talked for as much time as you've talked? If you say, you seem like a really passionate person. What's your passion? And she says one word, shopping. You cannot qualify her on that. Okay? There should be at least a balance. If not, it'd be even better if she gave more words and spent more time talking. The more she talks, the better. The more she talks, the better. In your qualifications, feel free to use the word friends liberally. Drop that in there all the time. And one of the reasons, there are some reasons for this. You might think, oh, wait, I don't want her to think we're just going to be friends. Right? But it's perfectly fine to be lovers and friends. Friends are usually a prerequisite category for being more, right? More than friends. So it's perfect, it's actually honest to say that, you know, you'd make a good friend, or you're just like my so-and-so friend. But it also throws her off guard. Because she's thinking, oh, I thought he was interested in me as more than friends. But you keep reinforcing friends. Right? So that's perfectly fine. And it's really good for throwing them off. Confusion and intrigue are really good. Just like with screening and your nonverbals, you want to reward with your nonverbals. This includes your body language, your tonality, and your touch. So as they're giving you more and more, you can open up more and more to them. Turn your body to face them more and more. When they say things, maybe when you're qualifying, they give you investment. They say things you like. You just reinforce with a platonic touch on the outside of the elbow. Right? Wow, that's really cool. I like that about you. Right? And then your tonality can become more and more interested and less skeptical. If she's not giving you the right answers, she's not investing, you can't invest if she's not investing. You know, you have to pull away. After you try 3 or 4 times, there's something else that you're missing. It's not, and you fail. I mean, if you try 3 or 4 times and you fail, she's not responding, she's not opening up, either your body language is off, tonality, image, could be something completely different. Maybe you're feeling the wrong emotions. But it's not going to do you any good to continue to plow on the screens. So pull away. If you qualify, if you overqualify, so that's the other thing. Like, so the one hand is she doesn't invest. And the other problem is if you overqualify, you give her too much reward, and she maybe stiffens up. You're like, oh, that's so cool, I love that about you. And you give her a hug and she stiffens. You want to do takeaways as a calibrator. Right? So you're going too far, then you pull back. You can do it verbally and physically. Right? So you can just pull her back take a step back or whatever, turn your back on her, right? Or just lean back a bit if you went too far. And verbally, you can always just say, the too bad you're so X. Right? X is going to be your cute little insult, right? So too bad you're such a dork, or too bad you're such a geek, or too bad you're such a bitch, right? For something a little bit stronger. When you're rewarding, when you're qualifying, reward the effort, not the content. Like a lot of guys who get too much into this, they take it way too seriously, like they're interviewing their next wife. They got all these interview questions. Where do you like to travel? What do you like to do for sports? You know, and let's say she doesn't say what you like to hear. What's your passion? Sales, right? If she put a lot of thought, effort into it, you want to reward the effort, right? You don't want to make fun of her. She put a lot of time and effort into that, well, relatively, right? So you want to say, really, sales? Why sales? Tell me about it. You want her to open up about it. And stay open-minded. For all you know, you learn something new about the passion behind sales. When maybe you were looking for something like, I want to help save kids in Africa or something like that, but you get sales. That's all right. Learn something new and keep you an open mind. Reward the effort. For the more advanced guys, you want to be aware of variable reinforcement. So you don't want to become too predictable. Every time she meets your screen, you say, oh, I like that about you. Then she'll be able to predict what you're doing. So you want to change it up. You want to vary your rewards. This is something that Tony Robbins talks about in terms of dolphin training and habituation. And so when dolphin trainers train dolphins, they want them to jump. And the dolphins are really smart, as are killer whales. And they know exactly how high they need to jump in order to get X amount of fish. So really, who's in control? The fish, the dolphins, and the killer whales. If they're hungry, they'll jump higher. If they're not hungry, they won't jump so high. So the trainer now can't do his show because he wants them to go through that hoop, but they won't because they're not hungry. So he just changes up the rewards. Sometimes they'll jump 10 meters and get 10 fish. So the next time they jump 10 meters, they'll just get 1 fish. Then he says, screw it, I'm going to jump 5 meters. And then he gets 2 fish. Next time he jumps 5 meters, he gets 5 fish. He doesn't know what's coming up. This is how human beings get addicted to the slot machines. Right? They don't know what they're going to get. There's always the promise of the big jackpot. And so they'll continue to feed that thing. Right? As long as it's not giving predictable results, the humans get sucked in. So the secret is be the slot machine. Don't ever be predictable. Vary it up. Okay, that's the slot machine effect. So I'll give you some stock qualifications. I like how you're so X. Wow, you really are X. I like that. Wow, you're so X. Cool. You're so X. I love it. Okay, you're X. You can be my friend now. I love having such an X friend. Man, you are X. You're just like my friend Jennifer. It's great to be friends with you, just like my friend Jennifer. You remind me a lot of my friends. You're so X too. Okay, so these are different ways of qualifying. You can throw in the word friends as well. Some final tips on S and Q, screening and qualifying. You can stack your screening and qualifying pieces. So I call it a piece, a complete piece, when you have the screen, then you get the investment, then you qualify. Boom, you're done. Move on to the next one. Right? I'll show you how that's done in a second. So by stacking screening and qualifying set pieces, you can create an entire relationship, an entire conversation that drags on for weeks. Right? And this is how normal conversations go with people. Right? So you can talk about travel, then you can talk about work, you can talk about food, you can talk about sports, then you go back to travel. So in each case, you're screening, and then you say, wow, I like that about you. That's so cool about you. Or, wow, you really are that way. That's neat. No, don't use the word neat. I got to kill that out of my vocabulary. Be willing to walk away. That's an important part about the screen. You have to actually know in the back of your mind that if this doesn't work out, no problem. It's going to be too bad because you thought she was promising because she was so pretty, but you're willing to walk away. Another mistake that guys make, not just being willing to walk away, but they also don't wait for the investment. They're too eager to qualify. So make sure that you wait for the investment. But then, always remember to qualify. Some guys wait too long and they forget. They get lost in the conversation. If you don't qualify, you don't get believability, and the overall attraction does not go up. It's more like, hey, I met a nice friend, and that's it. Because she's not going to think unconsciously or consciously that you appreciate these non-physical traits in her, that you see something more in her than other guys see. She'll just think, oh, I had a nice conversation. Always insert humor. Try to make it as funny as you can. Humor, there should be humor spikes every 30 seconds or so. But again, don't make it all about humor, because then you'll never get the believability. And one last point, what you screen her on doesn't have to be what you qualify her on. Right? So you can screen her on travel, and then she talks about travel, and in the course of that, she talks about how she went mountain climbing. And you can then qualify her on any number of things based on that. You can qualify her on being adventurous, or sporty, or fit, or something like that. Right? It doesn't have to match your screen. When you're on a date, here are some screens that are really, really good. And in fact, you can use them when you meet a girl at a bar as well. So the ones that I like to use, and I'll demonstrate later, where do you like to travel the most? What kind of art do you do? But also, what's your ideal dining experience? What's your ideal dining experience? Describe it to me. This is also great for the future, when you want to know like where to take her for a nice date. What's your ideal dining experience? What's your favorite movie? Not the movie, not the best movie you've ever seen, but your favorite movie, the one you'd watch over and over again. That's a great question. Right? Talk about movies. And then you give yours. For years, mine was Die Hard. When I first saw it, I was by myself in my house. I think I was like 14 or something. And I got it on the DVD, or the VCR back then. I just lay on my couch thinking this is not going to be that great, because I didn't know who Bruce Willis was at the time. And next thing I knew, it was over. And I was like, wow. And I watched it like 100 times till I wore out the VHS tape. That's my favorite movie at the time. That's a great question. What's the last MP3 you downloaded? Back in the day, it used to be, what's the last CD you bought? That was great, because a CD has more than one song on it, so you can learn more about the person. But what's the last MP3 you downloaded is also very good. Now, this is a great way of hooking up on music. A really powerful one that will, in many ways, ensure that after this date, you're going to make a strong connection, and she'll feel really, really close to you, like boyfriend material. Tell me about your family. What are they like? Tell me about your family. What are they like? And be ready to get a lot, because there are a lot of hot girls who have divorced parents. There could be abuse, or they could come from a great family, and you need to know that. Especially important to learn about her dad. It's a psychological truism, perhaps, that women look for men who are like their fathers, or either that or reacting against their fathers. So it's important for you to know what her dad was like. Tell me about your family. What are they like? Are you close to them? And then always be ready to open up on your side too. It's always going to be reciprocal. In fact, you might have to open up first. She might not want to tell you first, so you start. You notice how you could do an entire 4-hour date, obviously moving from place to place, don't stay in one place for 4 hours, on where do you like to travel the most, what kind of art do you do, what's your ideal dining experience, what's your favorite movie, what's the last MP3 you downloaded, or the last CD you bought. Tell me about your family. Right? And this goes on forever, right? Because it changes. Your musical tastes change, your favorite movies change, your family changes, your ideal dining experiences change, your ideal travel experiences change. This is just life. It's not pickup, right? It's not manipulative techniques, stealth strategies to trick people and manipulate them into liking you. It's just how normal people get along, right? These are just mimicking normal courtship patterns. But now that you have the key questions, you can speed up the entire process, right? And you can begin to screen for the type of girlfriends you like, the type of people you want to invest time into. Okay, great date questions. So to recap, we went over connection. We went over some screening and qualifying. We covered some stock screens and qualifications. I gave you quite a lot of tips on screening and qualifying. We went over the sample screens that are great for dates. And what's coming up now is how to go from the end of the opener into the screen and then qualification. All right, so we'll take a little stretch break. All right, welcome back. We're going to do a quick demo on how to go from the end of the opener into a screening and qualification. And we're going to do 2 of them. So I'll show you how to stack 2 S&Q pieces. And then basically you can just continue stacking the more you get. You want to get good at the skill of creating screens on the fly so that whatever quality you predict she will have, you can just create a screen for it. Also, as you become more interested in other things, you're going to naturally be looking for these things in other people. And you want to be able to just get in the flow of and having the ability to create screens about anything you would like, which is why I like giving stock screens, so that you can replicate it based on that variable of x, just replace the x. Okay, so let's say we talked about this just before we got up here, so we're going to do a museum. So it's a museum, and let's see. Let's say I did drop the pretense, I asked about something, and then I just finished, and I said, and I'm asking her name now. Okay, so we already, let's say I opened, and then we've talked. So I've said, hey, you just wanted to come over to talk to you because you thought you're really cute. And then she's like, ha ha ha, or whatever, right? And then I say, my name's David. And then we'll start. So my name's David. What's your name?
I'm Shireen.
Shireen?
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you. That's a very special name.
Thank you.
Never met a Shireen before, first time. So what kind of art do you do?
I paint.
You paint?
Yeah.
What kind of watercolors?
No, acrylics.
Acrylics?
Yeah.
Wow. What sort of images do you usually paint?
Usually abstract.
Oh, you do abstract style?
Yeah.
Cool. Have you seen the Picasso exhibit?
No, I haven't. I was just about to go.
Oh, I was just headed that way too. Cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm loving the Van Gogh here, though. This is an amazing piece.
Yes, it is.
My cousin paints watercolors. I don't paint at all, but she's a really great artist, and I used to drive her around, and so she put all her art in the back, and I'd have to drop them off to different galleries. But she did this one exhibit, which was photographs of feet. So she just had us take our shoes off and then our feet, and she just photographed these. I thought that was super weird, but it sold really well. Never know.
Never know. Yeah.
That's cool. You're so into art. I get the feeling that you're really well traveled too. Like I just get this intuition about you. Am I right?
I do. I love traveling.
Where do you like to travel the most?
I would say India.
India.
Yeah.
I would have pegged you as like a Bali girl or something. India. Why India?
I don't know. It's just exotic, I think.
Yeah, I was at the Taj Mahal last year with my girlfriend.
I went to Taj Mahal too on my birthday.
On your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Maybe, when was your birthday?
It was 23rd of
No way, I was there then too. What a weird
were?
coincidence. I think I might have noticed you.
Really?
You were wearing red, right?
No, orange.
Oh, damn. Okay, it was another girl I was watching. But anyway, where else did you go? What was the favorite part about India?
I like Shimla.
Shimla, I don't know that. Where is that?
It's near the Himalayas.
You went up to the Himalayas?
I did.
Isn't that like
It
where?
took like 4 hours for me to get there.
4 hours
From the Shimla train station.
Oh, okay, so how far is that from Delhi? Did you
Far.
Yeah? Wow. How long did it, so like did you take a train up to Shimla and then took a car?
I took a train up to Shimla and then I took a car.
Wow.
I had my own driver. And
Man.
it took 4 hours for my boyfriend and I to get to.
Oh yeah, to the top of the mountains?
Yeah.
Those are super high mountains.
They were.
Isn't it
Hard
kind
to
of dangerous there too?
It was
like,
hard to breathe.
yeah. Some friends of mine were going to go up to Tibet, go the other side of the mountains, but it was snowed in. Was there snow when you were there?
Not really.
Oh, nice.
That was real cold.
Nice. Wow, I'd love to go up there.
You should. I would
Yeah.
recommend people to go.
I bet it's beautiful because, like, India for me, other than the Taj Mahal, was a lot of chaos. It was very hard to navigate through the streets and all that. But you went all the way up to the mountains.
It was a chore, but you should go up there.
Wow, that's really cool. I like how you're so adventurous.
Thank you.
Hey, let's go check out the Picasso exhibit.
We should.
Yeah, let's do it. Yay! Okay, so that's the smooth version, and she was very cooperative. Okay, so we also, because of some questions, wanted to show what it's like when you get a little bump, maybe a negative emotion. And this is something that's more advanced. So that conversation was pretty straightforward. We both shared things from each other's lives, and I qualified before moving on to the next S&Q set piece. But sometimes you get negative emotions, and that can be a good thing. If you're more advanced, you can turn that around. Remember, ideally you want to give her an emotional roller coaster, so she's feeling not just high, but like down, because if she feels down, then when she comes high again, because of the contrast, it feels that much more high. right? It feels that much more positive. So I'm going to ask her about, tell me about your family. And then she's going to bring up something that's negative, and I'll just show you how you can thread cut that and make it, or not thread cut it, but thread it into a positive feeling. Okay. So, so Shirin, what? So we're already in the middle of a date, so I wouldn't say that. So tell me about your family. What are they like?
Well, I have a very, very loving family. But unfortunately, my dad passed away 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Well, were you close to your dad?
I was very, very close to my dad.
Oh, okay. I was, my grandfather passed away a couple years ago too, and he was living a long time, like 80 something. And I don't know, how old was your dad when he passed away?
48.
48, wow, so young. This is kind of tragic. Was it natural causes?
Car accident.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. I have nothing that can compare to that in terms of how much grief you must have felt. But yeah, like a couple years ago, my grandfather was 82. We thought he lived forever. He's a really strong guy. But then that last year, it was really touch and go. And we had actually planned a family reunion. So our family scattered all over the world, like some in California, some in Canada, a lot in Taiwan. So we were supposed to all go back to Taiwan. But people, as people are, tend to get busy and they think he's going to be around forever, so they put it off. But I went, and about half the family was there. And most of the trip, I was there for a week. It was mainly just in the hospital room, because by that time he had already been admitted. And then my sisters and my mom and dad, well, my mom and dad were there, but my sisters were going to come a month later. Mm-hmm. But after I left, a couple weeks later, he passed away. Okay. And then I had to work, so I couldn't go to the funeral. But then all the other family were there for the funeral. And I was really lucky that I made that decision to go early, because I got to see him in his last month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough, but like in the end, what was really cool about it was that after that, it brought our family really close together. Like even though we're scattered all over the world, because my grandmother was still there, and she was in denial too, like for most of it. But then right at the end of the funeral, she just collapsed and started crying. Like she'd never cried during the sickness until then, and then we had to figure out what to do with my grandmother, because they didn't want to leave her alone in Kaohsiung. Mm-hmm. So that's when the family just banded together and decided where she would stay, with whom, and how she would rotate around. And so it was really good. Then I actually, because of that, I got close to my cousins again.
Yeah, I guess it's like you never know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah, you have to cherish every moment.
Yes.
You never know what'll happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, do you want some more grapes?
Sure.
Okay. Here. Okay, wow, that was really good. I like how you ended with the slogan. That's always good too, like carpe diem, capture, you never have this moment again, take advantage of it. It's really good ending. Okay, so
everyone's emotional.
So there you go. That's how you can, what you basically do is you try to match the emotion, so you paste her reality, and then you lead her out into something positive. So you bring it around again. So from my perspective, it brought our family together. I got to know my cousins again. And then she concluded with the Carpe Diem theme. That was really good. All right, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really.
Okay, cool, thanks. High five. Thank you. Thanks, Sharon.